Oh, look at this. We got people. Who's this guy? Dairyman came in. He said, "Ha ha ha, you are getting desperate now. I don't like Candace, but she is on the money here. You are. No, I'm not. I'm not demon. I'm conservative. I'm the conservative one pointing out the fact that we have black supremacy going on here. Because if a white person said the exact same stuff that Candace Owens is saying, they would be canceled. If I badmouth Israel, if I got on stage in front of everyone, okay, in my underwear, badmouthing Israel, suddenly people would have a problem with it. People would say, what is that crazy guy doing on the stage in his underwear badmouthing Israel? Okay. So clearly, if a white person in his underwear does the exact same, okay, obviously I wouldn't be in my underwear, that's a joke, but seriously, no, seriously, if I said the exact same things that Candace Owens was saying, I would literally get beat up for being, they call me homophobic, and I'm gay. I'm a real gay man, and I would get beat up. They'd call me, you're homophobic, and they beat the crap out of me, and I'm like, I'm a real gay man. If I said the exact same stuff that Candace Owens says, I would be tortured. I would be put in prison. I would be, why? Because I'm white? I would be put in prison. So this is some kind of BS that's going on right now. How is Candace Owens able to say everything that if a white person said the exact same stuff, they'd be locked up, they'd be arrested, they'd be tortured, they'd be put on a watch list again. So that's the problem here. Is like I'm not I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with Candace Owens bad mouthing Israel. Okay. Cause but my point is like if I did the same thing, if I badmouth Israel, I would be canceled if I badmouth Israel. Is that fair? And I can't even play the gay card like Candace Owens, but I can't even play the gay card. You think that I could be immune? Like how come the race card is immune? They're immune from everything. They're immune from prosecution. The race card makes them immune from prosecution. Like you can't call you if someone's breaking in your apartment and he's black, God forbid you call the cops. It'll look like you're racist. Like, hey, yo, dude, did you just see that guy's breaking in your apartment? I'm like, I can't call the cops because then I'll look racist. A white guy calling a white Canadian calling the cops on a black guy breaking in his apartment. I'll look racist if I call the cops. I just let him rob the place. It would save me more money than being a pariah on social media for 2 weeks. You're racist. You're racist. You called the cops on a black guy who was robbing your apartment? A white Canadian calls the cops on a black guy who robbed his apartment. Racist. Racist Canadian. So, yeah, there's a double standard here going on, and it's kind of BS. It's total BS. It is the definition of BS. So, no, the gay card doesn't work. I can't go on social media and be like, yeah, I did. I'm a white Canadian who called the cops on a black guy who was robbing my apartment. But in my defense, I'm a homosexual. So the gay card doesn't work. It doesn't get me out of anything. So I don't see how we're allowing this supremacy to go on, where Candace Owens can say literally anything. Like literally tomorrow, Candace Owens could, I don't know, moon the Pope, and people would be clapping for her. Like Candace Owens was so brave. That is brave. She's so brave. She mooned the Pope. She is Catholic. Candace Owens is so brave. But if I did that, or if anyone else did that, we would be pariahs. So explain to me, how is that fair? That is not fair. That's called some kind of supremacy. So. Yeah, she does. Thank you, American. American, I can't repeat your comment because it'll get me banned, but I like thank you, American came in. American McIyer and said, that chick from Roseanne, that chick that Roseanne made fun of does look like she's from the planet of the, yeah, she does. She does. Roseanne was right for that. I agreed. I'm gonna pin your comment, but I can't repeat your comment because I don't want to get banned, but I'm gonna pin your comment. People are getting arrested, dude. Mike Evans came in and Mike Evans said, Candace is speaking the truth. That's not illegal. No one is getting arrested for calling out genocide. No, my point is that if I spoke out against Israel, or if any white people speak out against Israel, we get banned. Okay? Like we would get banned. And even Candace Owens is literally proving my point. And she's saying, hey, oh, anyone who talks bad about Israel gets banned. Except Candace Owens, because, right? So, and it's not just the Israel thing. Candace Owens talks about, she reveals secrets about the presidents around the world. We find out from Candace Owens, who says she's not part of the CIA, although she seems to get a lot of secret intel. Hey, Candace Owens, if you don't work for the Central Intelligence Agency, then where are you getting all of this info? All this top secret stuff. Are we going to find out next month that the German chancellor likes to get spanked? Like, are we going to find out in 2 months that the Polish prime minister likes to get his pole rubbed? Like, Candace Owens, where are you getting this top secret information? To find out that the French president's wife is a man is so shocking. And then Candace Owens is like, oh, she got it from a reporter. But who leaked it to the reporter? Who, it just fell in a reporter's lap? It just fell in the media's lap that the French president's wife's a man. No, you know who knows that kind of stuff? The CIA, the Central Intelligence Agency. They're the people who know that kind of stuff. They're the kind of people who know that the Russian president likes this or that the president of this country likes this. That's literally what the CIA does, is they find out secrets. So don't tell me that, oh, that excuse that you just got it from a reporter. Well, who leaked it to the media? Was it a CIA agent, Miss Candace Owens? Was it a fellow CIA agent, Miss Candace Owens, that leaked it to the media that the French president's wife is really a man? So there. Candace Owens does her podcast thingy, and then she says, oh, she's calling out the CIA, the Central Intelligence Agency, because like she's such an outsider. Meanwhile, she's like kissing the president. Candace Owens is such an outsider. She is not part of the status quo. Candace Owens is not part of the rich elite. She literally is speaking out against the CIA, the Central Intelligence Agency, on her platform of millions. Is the CIA incompetent? Because I'm pretty sure, Miss Candace Owens, that if the CIA, the Central Intelligence Agency, didn't want you talking about them, that they would like have you disappear, they would take down your channel. The CIA is not incompetent, okay? Especially when it's in the United States of America. Why do you think Edward Snowden left America and went to Russia? Because if Edward Snowden said the exact same crap, and if the CIA didn't want him to say it, Edward Snowden would have went bye-bye. So that's why Edward Snowden knew that he had to get his ass out of America and to Russia fast. Because Russia is the only place that he would be safe after saying all that crap. But Miss Candace Owens, you're there and you're acting as if, oh, you're such an outsider and you're not part of the CIA, but you just happen to get all of this top secret information about presidents and their wives. Well, then explain to me, Candace Owens, if that's the case and you're really going against the CIA, then why is your channel still up? Why are you have a platform of millions, okay? Why are you getting more advertisers? This is like the sloppiest CIA operation I've ever seen. Hey, Candace, pretend you're not a part of the CIA and like talk bad about us. Like, And we're just gonna stand there and let you do it and not take down your channel, not gonna boycott you, not gonna like heck, I wouldn't even be surprised if there was a commercial for the Central Intelligence Agency on her channel. Hi, I'm Candace Owens, and I'm not part of the CIA. I don't get any top secret information. But by the way, the Swedish president, just so you know, I found out from a source. I can't reveal my source, but I found out from a source that the Swedish president likes to go to dominatrix meetings, and he likes to get whipped by women in black rubber. Hi, I'm Candace Owens. Yeah, I'm not part of the CIA. I'm not part of the Central Intelligence Agency, but I just happened to find out randomly, that the Canadian Prime Minister is a douchebag. Well, that we already knew. We already knew the Canadian Prime Minister is a douchebag. But you get my point. You get my point. She's getting all of this top secret information. She's finding out the president's a man. Candace Owens, you think we're stupid. Obviously, you are getting this information from a source. And is it a coincidence, Miss Candace Owens, that right after Trump says Canada, so after Trump's trade negotiations with France fails, Trump has trade negotiations with Emmanuel Macron. It fails. The trade negotiations between Donald Trump, the President of the United States of America, and with France, Emmanuel Macron, the French President of France, the trade negotiations fail. Then, after the trade negotiations fail between Trump and Emmanuel Macron, we suddenly find out a few months later that Emmanuel Macron's wife is really a man. That's really coincidence timing? And people will be like, oh, that's just a coincidence. Oh, then explain to me, Donald Trump has failed trade negotiations with Canada. Donald Trump and Canada have failed the trade negotiations. Then the next thing you know, Donald Trump threatens to make Canada the 51st state and wants to take over Canada because of the failed trade negotiations. Trump Donald Trump has failed trade negotiations with Mexico and then suddenly wants to put tariffs on Mexico and threatens to put tariffs on Mexico. It's a pattern. And then Donald Trump wants to put tariffs on the Chinese, which is a good thing because the Chinese are always up to something and we definitely should be watching the Chinese. But that's aside from the point. Okay, there is a pattern going on here. There is a pattern. Every time Donald Trump has failed trade negotiations with a country, suddenly he puts sanctions on that country. Okay, Donald Trump was probably asking Russia for more Russian women to come to his hotel. Putin said no, no, or he asked too much, whatever. Next thing you know, Donald Trump is putting sanctions on Russia. So that's what I'm saying. There's a pattern going on. So it's not that, we're just, Candace Owens, she just is a purveyor of the truth. Candace Owens just, she needs to get the truth out there. Really? Because the president of France has been the president of France for 8 years now. 8 years. And you're just telling me that you just happened to find out now that the French president's wife is a man? You think that the CIA is incompetent? I'm pretty sure the Central Intelligence Agency would have researched the French president as soon as he ran for president. Not only the fact, but we can't even put it past the CIA that they are the ones who got him elected in the first place. That the CIA is the one who got him elected. So of course, if the CIA is getting this guy elected, you don't think that the Central Intelligence Agency would have done their research and figured out if the wife was a man or not? Of course they knew she was a man. They knew she was a man this whole time for more than 8 years. They knew she was a man. And so now Candace Owens is coming out with this information, pretending as if, that she just has to get the truth out. Oh, this has nothing to do with the fact that Donald Trump had failed trade negotiations with the president of France, Emmanuel Macron. This has nothing to do with that. Even though he also threatened to make Canada the 51st state after the failed trade negotiations with Canada. He threatened to make Mexico, put tariffs on Mexico. He threatened to put tariffs on the sneaky Chinese, which I agree with that one. Donald Trump, you think we're stupid? Hey, what's going to happen to Germany when Germany does it when rejects America's awful trade deals? When America has trade deals with Germany, are we going to get a repeat of World War II? Are we going to get those Nazi German soldiers back again? Which, by the way, I'm definitely not a Nazi myself. But anyways, don't oversell it. Don't oversell it. So basically, you see my point here is like Donald Trump, he's on a rampage. Okay. And especially, I am actually worried for those sneaky Chinese people. I'm really worried for them because imagine, of course, China is not going to let themselves be ripped off. Have you ever won a fight, a trade deal with the Chinese? You go into a friggin' Chinese I almost said sweatshop, not a sweatshop. You go into a Chinese store, and he's like, "Oh, I give you a good deal. Okay, it's normally $5, but I will today give you 5.50 with a double sale. If you pay twice tomorrow, I will then give you double sale 55. Okay, $30. Your book will be $30. Oh, you can get online. I will give you discount. Oh, you can find the same book online. Okay, I will give you discount. Okay, your book now is 29.95. I give you 5 cents off. Really good deal. So, do you think that the Chinese are the type of people to get ripped off? The Chinese will not let you rip them off, Mr. Donald Trump. So, what are you gonna do when the Chinese reject your trade deal? Are you gonna like what's gonna happen? I'm scared for the Great Wall of China. That is a historical place, the Great Wall of China. That is like one of those heritage protected heritage sites. What's going to happen to the Great Wall of China? Is that just going to go boom after Donald Trump after China rejects Donald Trump's trade deal? So this is a pattern. Donald Trump is doing this to all these countries. He's bullying every country. Sure, the French president's wife is definitely a man, and it's I'm glad that we knew because oh my God, like that's gross. But like you know what I'm saying? It's like we're gonna find out secrets about every country that Donald Trump has failed trade negotiations with. Every country. In fact, the Australians, those Australians down under, make crikey, those Australians, they're like, oh, they love Donald Trump. But are they going to love Donald Trump after Donald Trump tries to rip off Australia? And then when the Australians realize that Donald Trump's trying to rip them off, then the next thing you know, we're going to find out that the president of Australia is really a kangaroo. The president of Australia is really a kangaroo in a man suit. That's what we're gonna find out, probably, after the Australians reject Donald Trump's horrible trade offer. Anyways, I always knew that the kangaroos ran Australia already. I don't need the CIA. I don't need the Central Intelligence Agency to tell us that the president of Australia is probably some kangaroo in a man suit. Okay, I don't need. Okay, let's go to comments. Right. So that's what I'm saying. Donald Trump, Mr. Donald Trump, he is like blackmailing. This is literally the trademark of the Central Intelligence Agency. This is what they do. They blackmail presidents into doing what they want. If the presidents do not do what they want, then we find out that the president has a spanking fetish, or we find out that the president has three wives, or we find out that the president is really a man or whatever. That's what I'm saying. This is what the CIA does. This is what they do. The Central Intelligence Agency. They find out secrets about presidents around the world. I'm sure that they knew that the French president's wife was a man. They knew it 8 years ago when they got him elected. When they got the French president elected, they knew that his wife was a man 8 years ago. But we're just finding this out now. We're just finding this out now because the French people, the French government, they rejected Trump's trade deal. So then I'm sure Donald Trump was saying to Emmanuel Macron, if you don't take Trump's trade deal, then the CIA is going to leak to the media that your wife is a man. And then I guess the French president probably had to choose between either having his whole country ripped off, either having the French people ripped off in a horrible trade deal with the United States, or the whole country finding out that his wife's a man. He went with the latter, you know. Which, by the way, I mean, I think they already knew she was a man. If you just look at her, she looks like a man, you know. I wouldn't want to get in a fight with her. Like that man would smack the crap out of me. Anyways, let's go to Penny. Penny Choice came in, and Penny said, "What did Penny say?" She said a lot of stuff. I could already tell by Penny's picture that she was gonna defend Candace because because they both look like successful businesswomen. That's why. Not because they're both. Anyways, so Penny came in and Penny said, "What's wrong with her speaking? She has a voice as well. Roseanne is not the only voice, and actually, I've never heard her before. I've only heard Candace. This is what I'm talking about, trolls pages." Then Penny Choice came in and she said, "I guess you would be happy if Candace was talking ignorant, like a lot of." I can't repeat the rest of what you said, but anyways, Penny. No, my point is that my point. I'm the most liberal with free speech. My point is that if we said the exact same stuff that Candace was saying, we would get canceled, right? Like if I badmouth Israel, a white gay Canadian, if I badmouth Israel, I would get canceled. But Candace Owens can badmouth Israel and she doesn't get canceled. She can say all of this stuff, but if we said the exact same stuff that she's saying, we would get canceled. So what I'm complaining about is the fact that the only person who really seems to have freedom of speech is Candace Owens. Candace Owens is the only person who has freedom of speech. The rest of us, if we said the same stuff that Candace Owens said, we would get canceled. We would get canceled. We would get jailed. Okay, we would get tied to a tree. You know, and then everyone laughs at you when you're tied to a tree, and suddenly this guy comes by and he like offers to free you, but then he's just joking, and then he puts gum in your hair. Anyways, I know that sounded a very specific story, but it didn't happen to me. But basically that's what I'm saying. Okay, all of these people, like they're always saying, "Oh, America's full of free speech, America has free speech." No, only the rich elites have free speech. Okay, everyone else gets fired from their jobs if they say this. And Donald Trump too. Donald Trump is the one who does the firing, right? He got off on firing people in The Apprentice. But it's like literally people get fired for nothing. People get fired if you say that football sucks, which I mean everyone in Canada plays hockey. So a lot of Canadians do think that football sucks. Anyways, people will get fired for little things like saying that the boss has a funny haircut. People will get fired. So there's no free speech in America. There's only free speech for rich elites, for the rich elites like Candace Owens, for the rich elites like Donald Trump. He's got freedom of speech. He doesn't have to worry about getting fired. He literally can say whatever he wants, doesn't have to worry about getting fired. And Candace Owens, it's very clear that Candace Owens can literally say whatever she wants. She doesn't have to worry about getting canceled like Roseanne got canceled. She doesn't have to worry about getting fired. Candace Owens literally says everything that we all wish we could say about Israel and about France and about Russia and about the fact that I've always questioned what hot dogs are made out of. One time I asked my teacher, I said, "What are hot dogs made out of?" And they said, "Well, isn't it obvious? Dogs. Hot dogs." I said, "Wait a minute, I don't understand." They said, "Well, what if the dog wasn't hot? What if it was a cold dog? What would you call it? A dog? Okay, so then what are hot dogs made out of?" I still don't understand. So basically, I spent 20 minutes with my teacher back and forth, and I kept asking my teacher, "What are hot dogs made out of?" And they're like, "Well, dogs." I said, "What do you mean dogs?" "Well, what if the dog isn't hot? What if the hot dog is a cold dog and it's not hot? And then what would you call it?" What would you call a hot dog that isn't hot? What would you call a hot dog that was sitting on the shelf, sitting in a stand near the football stadium? What would you call a hot dog that was cold and wasn't hot no more? You wouldn't call it a hot dog because it's not hot. You're not gonna call a cold hot dog, right? If a hot dog is cold, if a hot dog is not hot and it's cold, how can you call it a hot dog when it's not hot no more? So then what would you call it? A dog. So then I said, okay, I still don't understand. What are hot dogs made out of? Then my teacher expelled, no, no, anyways. Basically, that's what I'm saying, okay? They're always lying to us. And by the way, Red Bull energy drinks, they're not actually made of Red Bulls. That's another lie. So anyways, they're always lying to us. They're always deceiving us, the media. They're always telling us fake news, and they're trying to make us believe it. And every time we try to challenge the media, every time we try to speak our own opinion, we get canceled, we get jailed, we get imprisoned, we get laughed at, we get ridiculed. I've been saying for years that there's aliens. I was saying it since I was a kid. I've been saying it for years that there's aliens, and I would get called crazy. They're like, "Oh, you believe in aliens? You must have a tinfoil hat." I said, "I do have a tinfoil hat. I made one at lunchtime." They're like, "Oh, you believe in aliens? You're crazy. You believe in aliens? You're this, you're that." So they're always calling us crazy. They're always destroying our credibility. But Candace Owens, she can literally say whatever she wants. She has freedom of speech. And no one calls her crazy. No one tries to commit her to a mental ward. No one puts her in prison. No one fires her from her job. No one cancels her YouTube channel. Who's this? Let's go back to comments. Oh my God, Donnell Kinsella came in and she said, vegetable oil made from vegetables, baby oil made from. Oh my God, what is baby oil made from? You got me worried now. What is baby oil made from? Oh my God, baby oil? I never thought about that one. What is baby oil made from? And is this French fries? You know French fries? Are those made from French people? Are French fries made from French people? Oh, I found out. I was watching Martha Stewart. Martha Stewart is like one of my idols because Martha Stewart, like her recipes, I love Martha Stewart's recipes. Oh man, I used to make Martha Stewart's apple pie. And if you've ever tasted Martha Stewart's apple pie, in fact, I just dreaming of I just when I one time I made Martha Stewart's cherry pie, and I made her cherry pie recipe. And if you've ever tasted Martha Stewart's cherry pie, wait a minute. Anyways, Martha Stewart, she is an icon, and she really made America great again with all of her great recipes, apple pie recipes, turkey stuffing, everything. Like Martha Stewart, her cooking is so good that I'm a vegetarian, and like I tried her turkey stuffing just because I had to. Anyways, so that's how good Martha Stewart stuff, and she really made America great again, Martha Stewart. And then what happened? Martha Stewart had her own version of The Apprentice, and Donald Trump got jealous because Donald Trump was like, "The Apprentice is the hit rated show. My Apprentice is the most watched on NBC." And then Martha Stewart got her version of The Apprentice, and Donald Trump was pissed off that they gave Martha Stewart her version of The Apprentice. And then what did Donald Trump do? He sent Martha Stewart to prison. Yes, yes, this is a Martha Stewart conspiracy theory. That's right. That's right, people. I'm about to tell you a Martha Stewart conspiracy theory, which is a good thing. Martha Stewart conspiracy theories are a good thing. So when Donald Trump had his hit show The Apprentice, which he was like, "Oh, it's my number one show," blah blah. The NBC offered Martha Stewart, a female version of Trump, her own Apprentice spinoff. Donald Trump was pissed off. Martha Stewart even admitted that Donald Trump was mad that she got her own version of the spinoff of The Apprentice. Then Donald Trump, what does he do? Every time he wants to get back at someone, he tries to find dirt on them or he tries to set them up. I think Martha Stewart, when she went to prison, that Donald Trump played a part in setting up Martha Stewart so that she would go to prison for like literally they sent her to prison what? For insider trading? Meanwhile, there's this whole Epstein list. There's a whole Epstein list of weirdos, rich elite pedos. There's a whole Epstein list and a Diddy list of rich elite pedos, and they're not touching them. But Martha Stewart, who makes these delicious apple pies and cherry pies and turkey stuffing and creme brulee and a baked Alaska. Martha Stewart, who fixes up the garden and makes the house smell nice and makes Christmas time so special. They sent Martha Stewart to prison for a little insider trading. Wasn't even a violent crime. Martha Stewart was literally sent to prison for a non-violent crime. Martha Stewart was sent to prison for a non-violent crime, and they put Martha Stewart in there with all the violent criminals in prison. And I'm not saying Martha Stewart was innocent, but what I'm saying is when they have a whole list of friggin' rich elite pedos on the Epstein list, but they don't touch them, but then they go after the one woman who really did make America great again. She made America smell nice again. She made Christmas time magical. Friggin' those apple pie recipes. I loved Martha Stewart's apple pie. And I loved, if you've ever tried Martha Stewart's cherry pie, wait a minute. Anyways, that's what I'm saying, okay? Martha Stewart made America great again. She should have been president, Martha Stewart, but now she can't because she's an ex-con. Martha Stewart, the woman who made stocking stuffers great again, and she made the house smell wonderful, and she made these wonderful bird houses. I just could imagine Martha Stewart in the prison cell, like, look how I can make this prison cell look even better by rearranging the. Is there any way I could imagine Martha Stewart in a prison cell? You know what I mean? It's so sad. It's so sad because Martha Stewart, she worked hard, and it's not like she just was one of those billionaires that just got handed the money like Trump. Trump was just handed the money. Martha Stewart, she worked her way from the bottom. She worked her way up, Martha Stewart. So that's a travesty what they did to her. Yes, Martha Stewart wasn't innocent, but what I'm saying is from all of the guilty people, Martha Stewart was probably the least guilty of the guilty. Like she literally imagine 50, 60 years ago, you know how hard it was for a woman to be in business? It was much harder for women in business. Now it's easy. Now Kim Kardashian, she does a tape, where she spreads her legs. Next thing she knows, she's famous. She sells a bunch of perfume, whatever. Martha Stewart, like she had to work her way from the bottom. She had to start from nothing. She made an empire out of nothing. Martha Stewart, and had to do this in a time when women in business, it was harder for a woman to be in business back then. And she did all of this and became successful and she not only was a housewife, she was the best of both worlds because she not only was an American housewife, but she was also a business person. So she was a homemaker and she had like a real business job. Martha Stewart was the whole package. And sure, she wasn't perfect, but don't tell me that she was the only one who did insider trading. Heck, she wasn't even a stockbroker. She got the tip from her stockbroker. Her stockbroker put it up to it. And literally, you're telling me that Martha Stewart was the only one who did insider trading? They all did it. She just was doing what all the guys were doing. Martha Stewart was doing what they were all doing. Okay, she was just trying to be one of the guys. Okay, and you're telling me, oh, that Elon Musk and Donald Trump and Nancy Pelosi and all them big guys, you tell me that they never do insider trading or that they don't bribe colleges and get their kids into special colleges through the college admission scandal? They all do it. They all do it. But of course, Donald Trump, he's immune from prosecution. But he's going to send Martha Stewart to prison because he was jealous that she had her hit show of The Apprentice. She had her own version of The Apprentice. Martha Stewart is not as so. Thank you, Richard Parker came in. Richard Parker came in and he said Martha Stewart is just as bad. You're telling me that Martha Stewart is just as bad as those people on the Epstein list? Martha Stewart, even if she was guilty of insider trading, is not as bad as friggin' the friggin' rich elite Epstein list of Epstein Island pedos. You're trying to say that Martha Stewart is just as bad as all those people on the Epstein list? Those people on the Epstein list, those rich elite pedos on the Epstein list, are way worse. 20 times worse than Martha Stewart. So no, I don't think Martha Stewart is just as bad. I think Martha Stewart was like the most innocent of the guilty. She was guilty, but she wasn't as guilty as everyone else was by far. She's a Martha Stewart is a saint compared to friggin' the rich elite pedos on the Epstein list, in my opinion. Someone came in, Tiffany Jameson. Thank you, Tiffany Jameson, for your comment. Tiffany Jameson came in and she said she was guilty of a technicality. They went after her because her success. Exactly, Tiffany. Thank you, Tiffany. I don't know. Anyways, Tiffany, you have a great name, Tiffany. Okay, like breakfast at Tiffany's. Did you ever see that movie? I never saw that movie, Breakfast at Tiffany's, but apparently it was a good movie because it was really popular for some reason when I was a kid. Everyone talked about it. But anyways, Tiffany, you got a great name, Tiffany. You go, girl. That's right. Thank God. Thank God someone else is defending Martha Stewart. They did. They went after her because of her success. How hard it was for a woman to be in business too. It's harder for women to be in business. And Jesus, like it's not like she that Martha Stewart became successful by friggin' uh, selling methadone pipes. Like apparently there was another billionaire I heard of that got successful from selling methadone pipes. It's not like Martha Stewart got successful by prisons, by having for-profit prisons. Imagine a billionaire who makes his money from for-profit prisons. Imagine on Shark Tank and they have one of those billionaires on Shark Tank and he got successful by making for-profit prisons by sending innocent people to prison. That's how he made his money. Like that would be so awful. So Martha Stewart, the way she made her money by making America great again. For real. She really did make America great again. Her recipes made wonderful recipes. She made Christmas time magical. She showed everyone how to decorate the home and make the home look better. Like Martha Stewart was really an icon. She literally was the definition of apple pie. She made apple pie. Her apple pie recipes were wonderful. So Martha Stewart was just as American as apple pie. Although I think she's like from Poland or something. I just found out the other day that I think Martha Stewart's Polish or something. Anyways, but Martha Stewart, she's like as American as apple pie. She makes apple pie. Okay, she literally made America great again. Okay, and like everyone's homes can thank Martha Stewart for all of the innovations and creativity and wonderful recipes that we got from Martha Stewart. Meanwhile, you got Elon Musk, not even American, Elon Musk, and he's literally blowing up rockets in space. Like, not every rocket, but lately his rockets, Elon Musk's rockets, have been exploding in space. Why? Why? If they already were able to send a rocket to the moon, okay, here's another conspiracy theory. If they were able to send a rocket to the moon already and they landed on the moon, then how come the 1986 Challenger exploded? And how come very recently a lot of Elon Musk rockets have been exploding? Why? Which, by the way, I'm not the one who invented that whole conspiracy theory about the Americans faking the moon landing. This is all over the world. There was an episode of a Bad Teacher. So Bad Teacher was a movie with Cameron Diaz, but the movie was based on a Finnish TV series. Was it either Finland or Denmark? Or no, Danish. Danish, okay. I always confuse those ones. Danish, Finnish, whatever, Swedish. So it was a Danish TV series called Bad Teacher. And I know that this series is called Bad Teacher, but she actually tells the truth. And so If you watch it, it's in Danish, and it was called Bad Teacher. It was actually what the movie Bad Teacher with Cameron Diaz was based on, this TV series, this Danish TV series. And she says in the class, she says, "Well, everyone knows the Americans faked the moon landing," and all of the Danish like people start laughing because it's true. A lot of people do not believe that the Americans really landed on the moon in the 1960s. And if they really did, then how come they were never able to go back to the moon and land on the moon? If it's so easy for them to land on the moon, how come we haven't had more selfies? Hey, I just landed on the moon. If it was so easy and they had the technology, if the Americans had the technology to land on the moon, and it's so easy to land on the moon, then why didn't they go back to the moon more often? Why didn't they like set up camp on? Why don't we see anyone suntanning anyway, like sunbathing on the moon? You know what I mean? I'm exaggerating, but you know, like if they really went to the moon in the 1960s, then they could have easily gone back, right? They could have gone back yesterday. They could have gone back in the 80s and the 90s. Why don't we get more selfies of them on the moon? Because they never really did. And and you know, and of course the 1986 Challenger exploded. Hey, if they already had a successful rocket that was able to go and land on the moon, then how come the 1986 Challenger exploded? And how come the most recent Elon Musk rockets are exploding? So something's fishy going on. And I don't just mean Martha Stewart's wonderful fish recipe with the haddock. Something for real is fishy going on with these rich elites. So thank you, Daquan. Daquan Wilson came in and he said, "Yeah, nobody went to the moon." Exactly, nobody went to the moon. And which, by the way, Daquan, thank you for your comment. Did you not see? Oh my God, Scarlett Johansson. I mean, I'll be straight for her. Did you see Scarlett Johansson? Do you see that movie that Scarlett Johansson did with Channing Tatum? So Scarlett Johansson, who's also from South Africa, right? She did a movie with Channing Tatum called "Fly Me to the Moon," and it's all about America, how America faked the moon landing. So there you go. Hollywood has been on this for a while now too. There's been a lot of American fake moon landing movies too. I mean, the media, they're a bunch of liars, the fake news, the fake, Trump even said it. When the president of the United States is admitting that the news is fake news, you know it's fake news. There's a movie, another movie, called Gone Girl. It's called Gone Girl, and it stars Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck. Star- I don't know why I said it like that. Ben Affleck. Anyways, the movie's called Gone Girl, and it stars Ben Affleck and Rosamund Pike. And it's all about how the media, they lie, they twist the story. And this whole time, this guy's innocent. He's innocent and he's wrongfully accused of murder because the wife's actually a sociopath, a lying sociopath. And the media twists the story, tells a bunch of lies, gets this guy like, and so the whole movie, the Gone Girl movie, you see how the media are such liars. And by the way, just so you know, and I just happened, this is just a random fact about the movie. Okay. At the end of the movie, you get to see Ben Affleck at the end of the movie. And I mean, you get to see all of Ben Affleck, if you know what I mean, at the end of the movie. So, uh, anyways, that's just a random fact about the movie. Anyways, so I haven't like watched that scene. Anyways, so the Gone Girl movie, it's all about how the media lies and the media tells lies. And this poor guy, this actor Ben Affleck in the movie, he like the cops are incompetent, the American police are incompetent, the media, they're a bunch of liars, they spin the story. They got like they get a mob going out. There's a mob of pitchforks and people going out after this guy, and he's really innocent because the media, they're such liars. They tell all these lies, they spin all these fake stories, and people believe it. So that's a movie you gotta watch. Anyone who hasn't seen Gone Girl, you gotta watch Gone Girl, and not just for the Ben Affleck shower scene. You got, I shouldn't have said shower scene. Anyway, well, it was a shower scene. Anyways, not just for the Ben Affleck scene. You gotta watch Gone Girl because it really shows how the media, they're such friggin' liars. And they twist the story and they lie. So, and they get innocent people in prison. And then another movie starring Scarlett Johansson, oh my God, was one of the scariest movies I've ever seen. Is called The Island. And it's all about organ harvesting for rich elites. The Island, which sometimes now I wonder if it was a commercial for rich elites. I don't know. But anyways, The Island was a movie, a science fiction movie about a special an island, kind of like sounds like Epstein Island, or almost sounds like Epstein Island, but maybe the Island movie was based off Epstein Island. I don't know, anyways. But the Island movie, starring Scarlett Johansson and Ewan McGregor, the Island movie starring Scarlett Johansson, it's all about rich elites cloning people just to harvest their organs. So there was a bunch of clones. Sorry, I shouldn't give it. Spoiler alert, if you haven't, anyway. No, but you should watch anyways. It's a scary movie. Like you will, like it's not just some stupid slasher movie. Like, oh, okay, no, look, the Island movie is scary. There are scenes in the movie that will like scare you to your core, like make you scared that your bones will shiver. Like you will have goosebumps, your bones will shiver. This is how scary the movie is. It is, I would say, yes, I would say it's the most scary movie in the world. And I thought the Blair Witch Project was scary. No, The Island is even scarier than the Blair Witch Project. Yes, The Island is the most scary movie in the world. You know why, too? Because The Island, it makes you think about reality. Because the whole perception of reality is distorted in The Island. Because there's these clones and they don't realize they're clones, right? They're people who were cloned of other people. And they don't even realize they were clones. And then they don't even understand how they got on the island. It's really metaphorical. It's really philosophical. There's a philosophical element to the movie. So the movie is extremely scary. It's called The Island. It's with Scarlett Johansson, and it's all about rich elites. Then, of course, the rich elites, they're always up to something. The rich elites, they have clones, and they're doing organ harvesting. They're harvesting the organs of their clones, and the clones don't realize that the whole reason that they were born was just to be kidney donors and liver donors to rich elites. So it's a really scary movie. So yeah, exactly, Z Ali. I wouldn't be surprised if Israel did organ harvesting. I wouldn't be. That's what I'm telling you. See, so a lot of these Hollywood movies, a lot of them are crap. I'm not gonna lie. Not every Hollywood movie is a gold star. I mean, and many of the Hollywood movies are actually very bad. But some of the Hollywood movies are actually based on truth, and some of the Hollywood movies are like trying to open up people's eyes and wake people up to what's really going on. Which, by the way, what did they do with the whole word woke? So the word woke, the woke word, it used to mean something totally different. They changed the word on purpose. 20 years ago, what did woke mean? Everyone knows what I'm talking about. When you said to someone 20 years ago, oh, he's woke. What did that mean 20 years ago? It means that you were woken up to the corruption of the government. That's what woke mean 20 years ago. It didn't mean that you like to dress up like a fairy and throw around glitter dust and run around with dildos. That's not what woke meant 20 years ago. They changed the meaning of woke. Now they portray a woke person as like some weirdo who wears makeup and dildos on their head and throws glitter. Now that they totally changed the meaning of what a woke person is. But a woke, W-O-K-E, the real meaning of woke, which was 20 years ago, and people used to say, "Oh, he's woke," mean like he knows that the government's evil. He knows that the government does evil stuff like organ harvesting. So they even changed the whole meaning of the word woke. Why? Why did they change the word meaning of the woke? Because the government is scared about people becoming the real woke. And the government was scared because people suddenly were becoming woke to the government and how corrupt they are. So the original meaning of the word woke meant like the person's woke about the government doing organ harvesting, the person's woke about the government murdering people. That was the real original meaning of the word woke. And then the government changed the meaning of the word woke. So now when you think of someone who's woke, you think of some weirdo who wears glitter and throws around dildos and dresses up like a unicorn. So. Oh, another movie that is, well, this movie was really woke too. Another movie, and I'm not talking about The Matrix, although I do want to revisit The Matrix at some point with Keanu Reeves, because Keanu Reeves is Canadian, and I have a Canadian conspiracy theory about Keanu Reeves. But anyways, not The Matrix, but there's another movie called Time Machine. And then in the movie, I'm talking about the 2003 one, the remake from 2003. It's a bit old. It's about 20 years, or it's 2002. 2002 or 2003, but anyways, 20 years ago, Time Machine, which was a remake, a scary movie, Time Machine. Not as scary as The Island, but in the Time Machine movie, three things that will jump out at you really scarily. So the first one in the movie is the fact that you can't change the past, which is probably really scary. But the two ones that are really even more scary. Well, we kind of knew you can't change the past. We kind of knew it already. The second thing is in the movie, um, everyone starts going missing. All the elderly people start going missing. And the guy says to the, and this is the future. This is one of the future scenarios. And the guy says to her, and he's in the future, and he says to this future woman, he says, "Where's all the elderly people, the old people? Where are they?" And she says, "Oh, we don't talk about them." Mm. Yeah, typical of a communist repressive country. We're not allowed to talk about it. So we find out later in the movie that they actually hunt and kill the old people for meat. This is part of the movie. This is in one of the future scenes of the movie. The old people go missing because they're hunted and they're used for meat to feed like a bunch of savages. And then another part of the movie, which is pretty scary, which could happen, is the moon, or well, the other thing could already be happening actually, but the moon. So the moon breaks up in one of the future scenes of the movie. The moon explodes, and then she looks at the moon and she says, "People have gone too far," as in like they mined the moon, they did something to the moon explodes. And if you think about it, the moon exploding, if the moon exploded, that would change life on Earth forever. Now, a supernova, which could also happen, is probably more rare and will probably happen at some point, but we might not, it might be a long time. But the moon breaking is it could happen a lot sooner, the moon breaking. And if the moon broke and no longer Earth had a moon that pretty much, sheltered from the sunlight and the daytime, nighttime. So if the moon broke, that would totally change life on Earth. Like it would be a catastrophic event if the moon broke. And the actress, the woman, she says, or the guy, he says something. It was either the guy or the woman who said it, and he says, the people have gone too far because it's true. Like it was a commentary on mining. Like we're over mining the planet. We're tapping the planet out of resources. We're pumping oil. We're draining the fossil fuels. We're draining like the oil and everything. That was really what the movie, I think, in my opinion, was commenting on the fact that people are like the carbon footprint, gas emissions from cars, all of this stuff. It's like destroying the planet. And it might not be the moon breaking, it might be something even worse or just as bad, like ozone depletion and etc. So this movie was woke. It was woke about that these people could see that people were destroying the planet And could even, like, what if they broke, what if the moon broke because of mining or something? In fact, it was, I mean, uh, like, I'm not a rocket scientist, but imagine if when they did act, if they actually did land on the moon, imagine if they were clumsy they blew up the moon or something, right? So, or imagine if, like, someone sent a nuclear weapon to the moon. Imagine if one of these nuclear weapons accidentally got launched at the moon or something. So I'm just, obviously, I'm not like a rocket scientist. I'm not saying that there's going to be a nuclear weapon going on the moon. But I'm just saying there's many possibilities. So if humanity's not careful, like if the moon breaks up or ozone depletion, carbon footprint, all of these stuff, climate change, we got to watch out for all this stuff. So, Time Machine was a woke movie. Time Machine was very woke. And when I was a kid and I watched Time Machine and I saw the moon break up, like that scared me to my core because I already figured that if the moon broke up, if the moon broke, like Earth would be forever changed and destroyed almost. I think they could even do a whole series on the moon break. Like I think they could do a whole television series about the moon breaking and how life would change if the moon broke. I would watch that series because I actually think the moon could break for real. Like I'm not like that could happen. I mean, so many things like an asteroid, a big asteroid could hit the moon and break it. Like so many things could happen. The moon could just break from normal wear and tear, right? A lot of things break in space all the time. So that's why how we get asteroids. How do you think we get asteroids? Things are constantly breaking up in space. So the moon could get hit by a bunch of an asteroid belt or something. Like there's so many things that could happen that break up the moon. So from all of these two, and by the way, someone came in and said that I get my information from Keeping Up with the Kardashians. No, I don't watch that stupid show, Keeping Up with the Kardashians. I don't even want to keep up with one of the Kardashians, let alone all of them. But no, I would totally watch a series if they something about the moon breaking, because that would be interesting. Because I do think the moon could even break for real. There's a lot of hidden codes and patterns in Hollywood movies. Some people are better basketball players. Some people are good at languages. Some people are good at math and science. Some people are good at swimming. They're good swimmers. I have like a big so I'm a bit good at math and science. I consider myself a scientist. I would consider myself good at patterns, seeing patterns. I'm decent at languages, but definitely seeing patterns, seeing mathematics, patterns, because a lot of patterns in mathematics. And I see patterns in movies. I really do. I see hidden messages in movies. I see codes. I see like cryptography, hidden codes. You know, we should take a team of cryptographers for real, and we should put them on Hollywood movies. Because like cryptography, what it is, it's code breaking. Someone sends you a message and it just looks like some obscure message, like um, the sunshine falls on the northeast side of the building or some bullshit. Anyways, or imagine if the message said Donald Trump's an asshole. Anyways, so basically, you know what I'm saying? Cryptography, right? It's like someone sends you a message. It's one of the ways of one of the cryptic messages, and then it's some cryptic message that you have to decipher. Well, they put all types of codes in Hollywood movies. These Hollywood movies, they put cryptic messages in Hollywood movies. And if they took a team of cryptographers for real, and they took the words, and I do remember that there was an incident where there was a movie that if you played a certain movie backwards, like you saw some evil demonic stuff. I think was it the Blair Witch Project? It was one of the movies, one of the horror movies. If you played the movie backwards, like oh you would have a heart attack on what you saw, right? So it was one of the horror movies that if you played it backwards. So anyways, they put a lot of cryptic messages in movies, and the Hollywood movies, they have a lot of hidden codes, hidden messages. And if we took a team of cryptographers and we put them onto the Hollywood movies, I bet if they looked hard enough, they would find some hidden codes, hidden messages, and who knows what they would find. So yeah, I remember they also had a music. They had a song, something. I think it was the Detroit song or something, the Detroit Rock City song or something. They had some kind of song, um, and it was if you play the song backwards or something, you heard something about Satan or something, something demonic. So yeah, they do that kind of stuff. They put it in music, and they put hidden messages too in music. A lot of hidden messages. They put subliminal messages in music and in movies. Yeah, a lot of times what they do. So someone brought up the gay thing. He said most of the actors from the golden age were gay. Plenty in codes on that. Those sets. Well, yeah, they have stuff like that too. But I meant more codes like the end of the planet kind of codes, like satanic, demonic codes. People, certain countries trying to warn about other countries, stuff like that. Uh, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Adolf Hitler, and like, I'm not a Hitler supporter. Don't like come in here, I'm talking about in the perspective of a researcher. I'm talking about in the perspective of a World War II historian. Okay, I'm not a anyways. So Hitler, I wouldn't be surprised if Adolf Hitler made like Hollywood movies, like because Germany had their own movies, right? I'm sure Germany had their own movies. Germany had everything. Germany had rockets and stuff and tanks. So I wouldn't be surprised if Germany and Adolf Hitler put hidden codes in movies in their German movies to like tell, maybe they want like Japan were allies, Italy, right? So Japan, Italy, Germany, they were allies in World War II. I wouldn't be surprised if Hitler did that because Hitler was smart, right? I'm not saying I liked Hitler. I'm just saying he was smart, okay? I'm not obviously a lot of people agree that Hitler was very smart, but he was also bad. Well, people are actually debating whether he was anyways. Hitler was smart. I wouldn't put it past Hitler. I wouldn't be surprised if Hitler did a lot of those German movies had hidden codes in those German movies. And if we took those German movies, I don't speak German, I wish. And I said, I wish I speak German because I like German people. Obviously, I'm not talking about World War II German people. I'm talking about like today German people, like German people from today, like Oktoberfest. Anyways, well, of course, not all Germans. Anyways, so I wish I spoke German. And if we had a team of cryptographers and we put them and they watched those German movies from World War II, like the German movies in the 1950s and 1940s, I bet they would find some of Adolf Hitler's hidden messages or hidden codes. Who knows? Hitler was a smart guy. Obviously, I don't support Hitler. I don't support that whole I don't support anything from that war. I don't like war. War is bad, obviously. What's also scary is those purge movies. You know those horror movies called the purge movies? I really think they do that. I really think the government purges people. And that's what they did in World War II. In World War II, they purged people. They had a list of people they purged. They went after disabled people. They went after gay people. They went after all types of different types of people. And so they have those purge movies, right? The Purge, these horror movies called The Purge, where they go purge groups of people. And they're always doing that. Like these Hollywood movies, a lot of times they're trying to tell you what the government does for real. They purge people. The police, like, after 9/11, everyone was trying to say, oh, Muslims after 9/11. The police, the American police, they purge people every year. The American police are responsible for many, like the most casualties every year, especially the American people. So the American police are constantly purging people. Like you're way more likely, it's statistically speaking, statistically speaking, you are more likely to get killed by the police than you are to get killed in a by Muslim extremists, than to could die in a car accident. So I mean, they're constantly purging people, and we don't even know all of the deaths. Like we don't know every time the cops. We only know when the person has family, it's a lot of times, right? So imagine all the people that don't even have family or friends that get killed by the police, and we never hear about it, right? We only hear about it when someone gets killed by the police. We only hear about the person who gets killed by the police when they have family or friends that miss them and complain about it, right? That's the only time that we hear when someone's killed by the police. The people could be killed by the police a lot more often. There could be all of these loners and people don't have friends and family that are constantly being killed by the police, and we never hear it because it's really sad. It's really sad, and you know. So it's sad that there's people that could be being murdered by the police and no one cares because they don't have any family or friends. They are organizing a big group. So they're actually, I did hear a rumor. I heard a rumor of this. It's called the Revenge on America Club, which is like this biggest club in the world of everyone who wants revenge on America. And I'm not just talking about like Al Qaeda or the Taliban or ISIS or Antifa or the mafia or the KGB. This is like this group, the Revenge on America Club. It's everything. It's everyone. It's all the people. Like this group could have KGB. It could have the Revenge on America Club could have Antifa in it. The Revenge on America Club could have ISIS and the Taliban and Al Qaeda in it, right? So the Revenge on America Club is like it encompasses everyone. Could have Russians, could have Germans, could have everyone who wants revenge on America. So I heard a rumor about this Revenge on America Club, and it's like every country in the world that wants revenge on America. And so, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked after 9/11 happened. After 9/11 happened, after the Boston Marathon happened. I wouldn't be shocked if there was another major event in America. I mean, people want to say now, oh, that would never happen. Oh, 9/11 happened. I bet no one expected 9/11 happen. And who was the psychic? I bet those psychics were put in mental wards. I bet there were two or three psychics, maybe even more. Imagine there's like there's 30 psychics, like real psychics. Like I'm talking about real psychics, not charlatans. Not charlatans and scammers. I'm talking about people who have real psychic gifts. Because there are some of them. So a lot of them are scammers. A lot of psychics are not real psychics. They're scammers. But there are psychics. There are people who really have psychic gifts. And I wouldn't be surprised if there were like 30 of them at least that knew 9/11 was going to happen. And they said something. And then they were called crazy and they were put in mental wards. And they go, oh, 9/11? 9/11? Oh, you're crazy. Oh, yeah. Then the next thing you know, they're like these psychics are put in mental wards, and then the one of the guy who's in the mental hospital, he's like, "Oh, I guess I better not go to the Twin Towers today because I guess something's gonna happen at the Twin Towers, right? I think I'm gonna go to the Twin Towers and I'm gonna get my cup of coffee and I think I'll be okay. And then the psychics are like, "Oh, that sounds like a good idea. You should go." Especially there was probably like a Canadian psychic because in Canada we have lots of psychics. Like it's a big thing in Canada, psychics, and some of them are real. Many of them are scammers, but some of the Canadian psychics are real. And I could just imagine there'd be like a Canadian psychic who'd be like, "Oh, do it, go, American, go get a cup of coffee at the Twin Towers. You're right. I probably just some crazy psychic vision. Go ahead." So that's what I'm saying. America, they're always like, there's all of these things happening, and then every time someone tries to blow the whistle on it or they try to tip people off, suddenly they're called crazy. There was a movie, actually, speaking of Hollywood movies that tell things. So, okay, Miss Congeniality. This is not a joke. I'm for real. Miss Congeniality came out 1 year exactly before 9/11 happened. Miss Congeniality came out in 2000. And what was Miss Congeniality about? An undercover FBI agent who got wind of a major terrorist attack about to happen. Um, and they were going to blame it on other groups. Like in the movie, in the Miss Congeniality movie, there was terrorists, and these terrorists were actually American terrorists, but they were going to try to frame and blame it on other groups of people who like take credit for everything. Because if you know the Middle East, they always love to take credit for everything. Oh yes, oh Americans, oh yes, mad cow disease, oh of course, yeah, oh 9/11, oh yes, 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 oh Americans, obesity, Americans, oh yes, the Middle East is the reason the Americans are obese, yes, so we take credit for everything, the Middle East takes credit for everything, so the Middle East likes to take credit for, so anyways, um, in the Miss Congeniality movie, Sandra Bullock, who by the way, the actress Sandra Bullock, she's German. Like in real life, the actress is German. She speaks fluent German. You could see videos of her speaking German. And actually, interesting about Sandra Bullock, her father, her grandfather, or it was either great grandfather or grandfather, one of the either great grandfather or grandfather was actually one of the scientists who was scooped up in Operation Paperclip, which was when, after World War II, the Russia and America were trying to get their hands on a top tier German scientist after World War II. And apparently, Sandra Bullock's either grandfather or great grandfather was one of the German scientists who got recruited by either Russia or America. I guess America because, she's in America. So Sandra Bullock, her character, she's an undercover FBI agent. She finds out that there's going to be a terrorist attack, and of course they're going to blame it. They're going to try to pin it on other people. It's not them. And Sandra Bullock, what happens near the end of the movie? We see what do we see? We see them dancing in New York. The contestants, the beauty contestants, the pageant, the Miss America pageant contestants, they are dancing in New York. And Sandra Bullock says, like the backdrop is New York. I'm not saying they're in New York. What I'm saying is the backdrop, like the scenery, like they're on stage with like, a fake Statue of Liberty and they're holding torches. So like basically the theme of the pageant was they're in New York. So the backdrop was New York, right? And Sandra Bullock, what does she say? She says, near the end of the movie, she says, "It's the crown. It's the crown." And she does the crown symbol, which kind of looks like the devil. If you see Sandra Bullock when she tries to tell about the crown, she can't speak or she's not loud enough. So she has to like do like a signal, like a hand signal. She has to do like a hand gesture. So she puts her two fingers up by her head. And I'm doing it right now. It kind of looks like, yeah, it's kind of looks, anyways. So she does the hand signal to try to tell them that the bomb is in the crown. It's in the crown that they're going to crown the lady with, right? And the crown. And what is the crown slang for? The crown also refers to the British monarchy. the British monarchy is also called the crown, which she's basically almost saying, like the movie, I'm not Sandra Bullock, but the movie is, it's like the movie saying that the crown, the British monarchy, it's the British, they're going to be the ones to do 9/11. Like if you look at the whole movie altogether, an undercover FBI agent, this is 1 year before 9/11 happened. Undercover FBI agent, and the actress herself is German. They're gonna there's gonna be a big terrorist attack. The women are on stage dancing to like with a New York backdrop, singing that song like one in a million, one in a million, blah blah. Anyway, and then they're all singing and dancing. And then there's a bomb in the crown. They put a bomb in the crown. And she's saying, Sandra Bullock is saying, it's the crown. It's the crown, right? And the crown is also can be referred to the British monarch, like the Britain, right? The crown, the queen, and everything. As if the movie is trying to say that they're the ones who are gonna do it. The British people, the British crown is gonna do 9/11. It's almost like that. Because how many other movies like were there were like this movie was so many had so many connections to 9/11. It really did. Especially with the women dancing in front of the New York backdrop. And what happens? There's an explosion in New York. In New York, there's an explosion in New York when she goes to throw the crown. She throws the crown into the sky and then it blows up the Statue of Liberty in New York. So is it possible that someone in the Hollywood got wind of 9/11, that 9/11 could happen or be coming, and they made a script on purpose to warn people in advance about 9/11? Like, like you never know, right? So I've been shocked before. I didn't know that the French president's wife was going to be a man, but she is. I was shocked before. No one, if you told me that the French president's wife was a man before Candace Owens spilled the beans and did that whole documentary, I might not have believed you. I'd be like, no way, the French president's wife's a man? Well, she is. So I've been shocked before. So you can't go past nothing. So yeah, watch Miss Congeniality again, or for the first time if you haven't watched it. Watch Miss Congeniality. It's a good movie too. Miss Congeniality is a good movie, and it's funny actually. It actually is funny. It's not really just a chick flick, or really not. It's actually funny. Miss Congeniality. I mean, I think that most chick flicks are stupid and not funny, but Miss Congeniality is actually funny. Miss Congeniality, and also I like Germans. I like, I speak a little German, and anyways, Sandra Bullock, she's cool. Anyway, Miss Congeniality. Watch also Gone Girl with Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck, watch Gone Girl with Ben Affleck. Watch The Island with Scarlett Johansson, and watch Time Machine with can't remember the names of the actors in the Time Machine movie, but anyways.